It's time for the Everyman podcast. So sit back, it's time to get your brain relaxed. So tune in almost every week as we share our thoughts that it's okay to speak. It's the Everyman, but it's for everyone. Making mental health priority one. But it's for everyone, making mental health priority one.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Everyman podcast. Now, tonight we have two hosts on the podcast with me. We have Dean, who you will have all seen before. You might not have heard much of Dean, but you've definitely have seen Dean before. And then we have Joe. So Joe is a new host on the podcast. How are you doing tonight, Joe?
Good, yeah, excited to be part of my first one.
Yeah, we are super excited. Yeah, we are so excited to have you on. It feels like forever ago that we announced you as a host on the podcast.
Yeah, it was last year, wasn't it? And towards the end of last year.
Sounds further along away, that doesn't it?
I know it does, yeah.
And then you went traveling.
Yes.
And then it's been Christmas, and then it's been New Year, and we finally got you on. So, to any listeners who don't know who Joe is, absolutely putting you on the spot here, and I know you'll hate doing this as much as all of us would hate doing this. Tell the listeners a little bit about you.
So I'm Joe.
And why you wanted to be involved in the podcast. There we go. There's a nice step.
Yeah, that's probably a bit easier. So obviously you kind of got in touch when I did a little bit of social media stuff last year for World Mental Health Day. And that's kind of the line of work that I'm in. That's what I do on a day-to-day basis, supporting people and young people with mental health. And I've also got past experiences, like personally, through myself and family. So it's kind of something that I'm kind of passionate about in both my personal life and work. So this is just something extra that I'm looking forward to doing.
No, I love that.
Yeah, and that's pretty much in terms of why I want to do it anyway.
Yeah, I think for me, having obviously spoken to you, speaking to you about coming on the podcast, understanding some of your story, there is a real strength in sort of the why you would want to be involved in it.
Yeah.
Generally, when you think about your experiences and the work that you do, why do you think it's so important for us to have these types of conversations?
I think from the side of my personal experiences, you can't teach those experiences to people unless you've kind of gone through something like that. So when people come across challenges and things in life, I think it's really valuable to have the voices of people who have been through shit times, basically. I think it's really powerful to come from people who have got those experiences. So that's kind of why I'm really, really passionate about it. There wasn't a lot of that in the past when I've had my struggles. So that's something that I know I would have benefited from. So yeah.
Yeah, I feel
it makes it more relatable, doesn't it?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, of course it does. I think if you hear from people who have had experiences, and that's why I find the work I do really invaluable when I'm talking to young kids and stuff. Even just talking openly about how you're feeling hasn't got to be anything really, really bad. Just having those open conversations, I think, encourages others to do the same.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, it's interesting actually. So I probably come at this conversation similar to you, Joe, in the sense of Dean's smiling because he knows where I'm going here. Similar in the sense of the more we talk about it, the more we remove the stigma, the more positive impact we can have on inspiring people to take not only positive action within their own sort of health overall, but also to make sure people don't feel like they're alone or that they're the only person in the world going through it, or that
Mhm.
they're the worst person in the world for going through what they're going through.
Yeah.
Now, there's always an irony in mine and Dean's best friendship here, because Dean he does agree, right?
Mhm.
He has a slightly different opinion, and I
Okay.
do value it actually, because we talk
Yeah.
about this quite often. So Dean generally, I'm not going to give Dean's opinion for him, but for
Mhm.
you personally, Dean, how do you
Oh, well,
find?
I'll say, yeah, like for me, my mental health struggles are when I'm talking about my mental health struggles, like, and I start to think I'm worse than what I feel like I am. So for me,
Yeah.
I know it is a good thing to talk about,
Mhm.
but for me, when I'm struggling, it's like because I'm self-inflicting. I'm drinking all the time. I'm eating
Mhm.
bad diet. I'm not working on myself, and I just get into a rut. So I actually
Yeah.
find for me, it's just I don't really talk about the stuff.
Mhm.
I find it easier to push it away, and I know that some of the hosts on the podcast have said, you know,
Mhm.
and some of the guests have said, well, well, that's good now. You
Yeah.
know, in 10 years' time, it could hit a point, but for me, it's just the other way. It's all good. It's
Yeah.
good to express your opinions and talk about it with people. But for me, I just like to just shelf it and just move on.
Yeah. No, and to be fair, like I do kind of agree with that to some extent. Like I think it's important to encourage people to talk, but that isn't always what people want to do, and that's not always what's going to help someone. Um, so I can kind of get that side of things as well. To be fair.
I think the other side though, I haven't like really, really, really struggled. So you
Mhm.
know, maybe when if I was to get to that point, I probably would. But like it's
Yeah.
the little things that you know. I mean, like sometimes Lou says to me, "Are you all right?" And I'm like, "Aye," but he's like, "But yeah, but you really though, because I don't think you are." And I'm like, I'm sounding like, "Yeah, I'm not sure you are, mate." And I'm like, "Oh,
Yeah.
I think I am."
No, I do get that. Like, yeah.
It's so awkward though, and you're probably touching on what tonight's topic is really well there, Dean, in the sense of a friend trying to communicate with another friend around how they are feeling around their health, their mental health, and
Mhm.
recognizing that. And I think if I didn't do the podcast, I wouldn't have half the deep conversations I have with people day to
Yeah,
day. But
Mhm.
since having a podcast on health, and Joe, you might be the same because you
Mhm.
work in a field, and Dean, I'm not saying you're not, but because you work in a field that makes you consciously aware
Mhm.
of signs, or you're talking about recognizing poor health, or you're talking about how to enhance your mental health.
Yeah.
Um, do you find, since moving and working into the field that you're in,
Mhm.
in your personal life you've been having more sort of mental health, deeper conversations? Or is that something you've always done?
No, it's not, to be fair. I'm really bad at talking about my feelings, really. I'm quite the opposite, although I encourage it. Like I do find it hard myself, but I do know
Yeah,
that's important.
yeah.
I
Sounds like Dean
find,
and Joe are very similar here.
yeah, like
yeah.
I
I,
find,
I was thinking Joe and me were going to be very similar here. It's actually Dean and Joe.
yeah, I think I probably need to work a bit on practice what I preach with the talking about stuff. But I am like I do. I'm definitely better at it than I used to be, and I do
Yeah.
talk more openly about stuff. Um, but I find like I run loads, and that's the main reason I run is from mental health. That's like the
Yeah,
physical aspect of it is secondary to me. Like it's really for my mental health.
Mm,
But I have found that since working in the field that I'm more comfortable to talk about it. Um,
hmm
I don't find it as not embarrassing, but like I don't really shy away from it as much.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm more confident to encourage others to do it as well. So
I think it's more of a burden. Like people feel like that's what they are. Like
mhm.
unloading your problems onto somebody else.
Yeah,
And like sometimes you feel like, well, they probably don't care anyways.
mhm.
Um, so yeah, but you've got to just get there and open up really.
When
Yeah,
when when we're talking about that, right? Um, so I'm going to ask you both this question.
mhm.
When you think about your relationship with your friends,
Mhm.
um, how do you feel? How do you feel in terms of how confident you are, in terms of having those deeper, how you are feeling, how they are feeling, not at like surface level. I've woke
Mhm.
up today, I'm having a good day, but generally in life, those types of conversations. Either can go
Um,
first.
I don't mind. Will I go first? Right, okay. Um, um, yeah, there's probably. I think for me personally, I probably wouldn't tell my friends just kind of day to day struggles with, if say for like one day if I was feeling
But
a
do they
bit
open
down,
up to you?
or did they up to me? Yeah,
Either.
I think yeah, well, I think yeah, they definitely do. And I think I would probably only really confide in a friend if I was really, really struggling and I knew that I needed to. But I'm
Mhm.
not I don't kind of talk about just random day to day ups and downs, my moods, that sort of thing. But if I was really struggling enough, yeah, I think I would.
Yeah. Dean?
I think with me though, like I don't even like where I am. I don't remember if something's upset us or if I'm annoyed with something or so. Like when I go with my mates, like I'm in that moment rather than living in like if I was struggling with work or something. Like a couple, like last year I was like sort of struggling with work. Like the targets
Hmm.
went very high. We weren't earning as much money. But then when I'm with my mates, like I'm not dwelling on that. So like I'm only thinking about in that moment.
You're
So
pretty good
Yeah.
at compartmentalizing
yeah,
your
yeah,
life.
yeah. And then also like trying to think to myself, like, what can I actually do about it? Like, I'm also pretty good at that, like the controlling the controllables, and then the stuff you
Hmm.
can't do anything about. There's not a lot you can do about it. Like the targets, I can't control the targets at work, but I
Yeah.
can try and work harder, and that I think that's what I'm pretty good at. And I don't dwell on things. Like, me and my last we'd have an argument about something, and then like 2 seconds later, I'm just absolutely sound, completely forgot about it. 2 weeks later, she's still kicking off. I'll
Yeah,
point and pushes in the
I
corner.
don't know if that's a man thing, that's a woman thing, if that's a you thing. Like maybe we need to explore all of that. But I think generally you are the kind of person where things don't seem to eat you up beyond a
Mm.
certain point because you're pretty good at saying, I can't affect it, so I accept it, versus I can't affect it, so therefore I'm going to be stressed
Yeah.
about it and make
Hmm.
it a big thing in my
Even
life.
like stupid things, I've made some stupid decisions in my past, and that,
Like what?
like, and then like when I lost my license for drink driving, like
Yeah.
that was so stupid. But afterwards, like I could have beat myself up about it and worried and everything. But then I just thought,
Hmm.
well, nothing I can do about it now. I shouldn't have done it, and I just push it to the side, just get on. Like
Yeah.
that's how I
It's like life
manage.
experience, isn't it? That's why that's where I look at
Yeah,
stuff. Like even like really traumatic stuff, like I find I make humor. That's my way of dealing with stuff, as I'll kind of make a joke about it. And I know that a lot of
yeah,
people probably find that a bit like, well, you cannot really laugh about that.
yeah.
But it's
I think
almost
that's
like,
a
well, it's happened, but there's no point dwelling on it. All you can do is
yeah.
Mm.
learn from it and make your life better from it, even if it's shit.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with that. We're good with that one. Like, bit of dark humor on something. Like,
Yeah, yeah, 100%. It doesn't mean that you actually mean it. It's just your way of
yeah.
saying
But just
that
ways
was
like
absolutely shit that
blowing
happened.
over it,
But
innit?
yeah, of
Yeah,
course.
To be fair, Dean, that's Dean's friendship style as well. It's not even just how he deals with his own shit. So if I look at the things that have happened in this last year, or last 18 months, so my friendship with Dean has coincided with my life being turned upside down, right? So like
Okay.
10-year relationship breakup, and then moving in with friends, and then get my own place and whatever. The challenge of trying to see my son more and all that comes with that. And
Hmm.
Dean's responses are usually like, "Do you even want to see him?" Like it's stuff like that. And he means it in, "Would you not rather just come and do something instead?" Or um, when I was like obviously coming through gambling addiction or whatever, well, you could
Hmm.
just lose it all anyway, and like it's stuff,
Yeah.
and I'm downplaying it, but the banter probably got me through it more
Hmm.
than anything. Of like, no matter what is going on, you've got to just have a laugh, and
Yeah.
I think for me, without making him blush a little bit here, like this last 18 months would have been so much harder if I didn't have that
Sorry.
person who just doesn't give a shit about bad
Mhm.
things
Yeah, no,
generally.
I think like if I was the kind of mate that like when you went through that and then I was like, fucking hell, mate, that's really bad. Yeah. Like,
yeah.
you've just moved out. I couldn't imagine what I would do if I was in that situation, mate. Like, it's so much worse, isn't it,
It'll
than
make you
just
feel
saying,
worse,
yeah.
doesn't it?
Well, yeah, 100%. Like, it's just I think it's my way of thinking that it's better than
No, it
Yeah.
definitely helped. And I think when I look at my friendships over this last 18 months, because I almost look at my life in two ways now. I have
Mhm.
the being in a long-term relationship version of me, and then I have this version of me where I was obviously very unhappy, but not necessarily just in the relationship, just within myself, and felt a bit lost and all those sorts of things. And
Mhm.
this is like my second chance at trying to make the life that I want.
Yeah.
And my friends around me now, I have different friends for different
Mhm.
things.
Yeah.
But what me and Dean will both admit, um, last year our friendship very much became going out on the drink, didn't it? Like not that
yeah,
we
for
didn't,
stages. There was like
not
stages of the year, wasn't it? Like broken up
Mhm.
yeah,
the suicides away.
but not that we were only mates because we went out on the drink, because we would
Yeah.
sit and watch football or
Mhm.
go for food or whatever. But the main thing of our relationship as mates was mainly going out on a Friday or a Saturday or whatever, getting pissed.
Yeah.
And we had, well, Dean was absolutely smashed when we had this conversation. So we went to watch the Tyson Fury
Oh yeah.
fight.
Okay.
I do
Yeah.
remember it,
Mhm.
but I just put that aside my head because I don't want to think about it.
So I
All
remember
them
it
nice
all.
messages and stuff that I send and that, I just don't even look at my phone. It's,
Aye.
oh,
Didn't
horrible.
happen.
Yeah. Well, we went and watched it, right? And I would say for the first, so I got there and I don't know, he was 5 pints in or something maybe,
Right.
and I was just
Maybe more.
taking it slow all night. I didn't drink that much, to be fair,
Mhm.
especially in comparison to Dean. And but he was on a buzz, like he was
Yeah.
in like, oh Lou, great to see you. I think it was the first proper night out since you got back from Japan or something. And
You
anyway,
hadn't been coming out for some reason, had you?
no, I
There
wasn't
was
coming
some
out.
reason you weren't going out or something, and then you eventually came out.
Well, you said come out, and I was. That's how hard it was. I'm not coming
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Dean says come out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how hard it was. And but anyway, we were playing darts, and we probably spoke for a good hour. Everyone was trying to
Mhm.
get us
Remember
off the
that.
dartboard. It's amazing how he remembers fuck all of this. And but we were talking about the fact that as mates we have a
Mhm.
choice, and that choice is we can either be best mates that do things with each other that is bad for our life, like just going
Yeah.
out on the drink, eating takeaways, like stuff that doesn't actually align to what we want out of life.
Mhm.
Or we can be the mates that say, let's push each other to be the best version of ourselves.
Yeah.
And we still have all of the banter, all of the crack with each other, all of that sort of stuff. But
Yeah.
actually, it's doing it in a way that is positive versus
Yeah.
self-destructive.
Mhm.
Um, and we're only 20 days in. Let's be honest. We're 21 days in, 3 weeks, because it was New Year's Eve was.
The final one.
29th was the final one, I think, of December.
Yeah, did we? Yeah, we went out for the Newcastle match, didn't we? So we had a drink on the 29th or 30th,
30th, was it?
night before New Year's Eve. I was working.
Yeah. So we went out on that one, and I look at it now and go, that's the kind of relationships that I want and need in my life now.
Yeah.
What's that saying, that you're the sum of the five?
Yeah, some of the some of the
I
five
don't know.
closest people that you
You're
are.
the average sum
Oh,
of the
okay.
Average,
five
yeah.
people you spend most of your time with. So if you're spending time with people who are physically active
Mhm.
or got good careers or really sensible with money or like massively into learning or reading or whatever,
Mhm.
that
I'm none of
rubs
them.
off on you as a person. And that,
Yeah.
what did you say?
100%.
I said I'm none of them.
Yeah, that supports you as a person to achieve those things.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
Yeah. 100%. I think like the people who you surround yourself with definitely have an impact on the way you live your life. 100%.
yeah,
Yeah. I think
and
even just like being around positive people makes a big difference.
Massive.
Yeah. Yeah, huge.
Yeah.
This is the first year that I've ever actually sat down properly, not lip service saying, I'm
Mhm.
going to do this, or I want to not go out, or I want to change my behavior, or whatever. This is the first year that I've actually sat down and went, okay, Lewis, I have to change my life. It's not, I can't just keep doing all the same things and my
Yeah.
life is going to get better. So, we spoke about this last week, actually, and I think it's a really important thing. Do you know when you close your eyes? And so
Mhm.
I'm going to ask you both to do it here. Close your eyes.
Yeah.
It's not a meditation, but if you close your eyes, when you close your eyes and you think about yourself, what does
Mhm.
that person look like?
Just
I
a
don't
guy with
know.
his eyes shut.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm probably doing this with the two least deep person
Worst,
people for this, right? No, but when you close your eyes and you think about that person, right?
Mhm.
Do you think about that person and their habits and behaviors? Is that person the same person as you? So does that person do all the same things that you actually do? Or is that person a better version of you that you want to be, but you're not actually doing anything or not doing everything you can to be that person? So
What?
I did that
Yeah.
exercise. So for
Okay.
example, when I close my eyes, I think of
Right.
me being really physically fit.
Mhm.
I think of myself being really good with money. Think of myself like my career is absolutely flying. I have an unbelievable relationship with Oliver. All
Mhm.
those sorts of things, like in my
Yeah.
head, family, friends. Like I close my eyes and that's what I see.
Mhm.
But then I look at my life and I'm like, everything isn't there.
Yeah.
Some of it's there.
Yeah.
Some of it
Yeah.
is on its way, and I kind of half-assed some of it, like the fitness or whatever. I'm not
Mhm.
consistent, and you go, okay, when I close my eyes, if I want to be that person, why am I not doing that? Because actually, so you do that exercise, you close your eyes and you think of who you are, but then look back at your bank statements for the last 6 months
No thanks.
and look at what you've spent your money on,
Yeah.
what you've been doing, think about who you've been spending your time with, all those sorts of
Mhm.
things, and do those actions of your past 6 months align to the person that you want to be? And if not,
Uh,
you then have a choice. Am I going to change that behavior to be that person that I think or want to be? Or am I going to stop living? Because I always live in my own head about, I want my life to be better, 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 better. But then I
Yeah.
wasn't doing the things to make that happen.
Yeah.
mm,
No, I think as well. I think with those sorts of thoughts and feelings, it depends how much you want it, really. And
Mm,
I'm a true believer in if you really, really want something, you can do it, and you
I
will
agree.
do it. But it depends on if you actually deep down really want it.
Mm,
No matter what it is, I think, yeah, it comes down to how much you actually want to achieve that
yeah.
I
and
think
want that in
that
your
as well.
life.
Like, but then we always get into that thing where like we'll get into a good routine of starting to build that person, and then we're just going out on the drink, and that weekend ruins it. And then for the next week, you feel like shit. So that's why like we're doing that. Well, we're doing at least dry January. I'm
Yeah,
probably not going to drink until the stag do that I've got in March, and then I'm even contemplating not even bothering then. But I'll see what it's like. Obviously, if I go away,
You'll
it's going to be
definitely you
hard.
can't go on a stag do and not drink.
Yeah,
And I
I'm
know
not.
that's a really bad friend. This is the point of the
No, no,
conversation tonight.
but but then like I just know I've got now I'm getting into the routine of like I'm starting a new job, opportunity to earn lots of money.
hmm
I go to the gym all the time. I'm wanting to play football. I'm back. We're running every day. Like now, this is starting to feel like well, actually, this is more like
The person you want to
getting
be.
towards the person you want to be. Yeah, doing
yeah,
these steps, being that 1% better every day, compounding over the year. Like where will we be in 12 months if we stick to this?
hmm
But obviously, it's January blues, isn't it? Like you know what I mean? Like New Year, new
yeah. It's the
me.
worst month,
It's
like.
just keeping that. Yeah, but
What's your views on that, both of you? The whole January hype, New Year, New Me. What do you think about it?
I think. Sorry, go on.
No, go on. What were you gonna say?
I was just going to say, I think the only problem I've struggled with in the past is if you've just got that January goal, then what happens when you get to February 1st is you go, wow, I did that, I could do it. And then you go, right, well, I'm going to just go out with the drink this weekend, but then I'll go back to it. And
hmm
then just slippery slope. So that's why I'm thinking it's like I'm just trying to do like a daily thing, like working on daily goals rather than having like a thing that what I'm like with my diet. I'm either on a diet or I'm off a diet, and there is no in
If he's
between.
off a diet,
I'm,
he
I'm
might as well
either
be on.
1,500 calories a day or 15,000. Like there is no in between that.
One extreme
Like
to the other.
literally. So, but like
No,
this
literally is.
year, there's been a couple of times where like I'm on my diet, but then I've been invited for food, and I think to
Mhm.
myself, oh no, I'm not going to bother. But then I thought, well, I'm not. I need to change my lifestyle. I don't need to change my diet.
Yeah.
So I need to be able to have things in moderation. So like I've made a couple of conscious decisions to just go out and enjoy it. And if I don't lose weight
Mhm.
this week, then it's not the end of the world. I'll get to where I want to be in 6 months rather than rushing to get it
Yeah.
done in 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree. I find, I mean, I've mixed feelings really. Like I personally, I really don't enjoy New Year. I find it really like quite depressing. I don't quite know why. I just don't really enjoy it. I can
Do
see
you go
why
out for
people.
it?
I have done in the past. Or my mum's had like house parties and stuff. But I just find it quite a weird. Get a really like a weird feeling around that sort of time of year.
Yeah.
I think just like when you like reflect back on whatever's gone on in the last year, and then not knowing what's going to happen, like what's coming. I just find it a bit uneasy. I can see why people enjoy setting goals and like it's a new start and it's a fresh start. But I think that's kind of to please other people. Look, that's what everyone does. I think if you're
Yeah.
setting goals, you should set a goal whenever you want.
You
It
need to
doesn't
have a
matter if
why,
it's
don't you?
yeah, of
Like
course you do,
rather
yeah, and
than
it
your
kind of
why
comes back.
can't be it's New Year.
Well, yeah, exactly, because then it's never going to work. You have to
Yeah.
do it because you want to do it, and that can be any time.
Yeah.
But I can
Do you know what's
also
really?
see why people do it because it's hyped up so much, and that's what you have to
Yeah.
do. But
Yeah, I think for me, I had loads of really self-destructive behavior
Mhm.
sort of November, December, like going out loads, eating shit, not exercising, things that were short term, like even just sit. Do you know, instead of going for a run, just
Mhm.
sitting on the sofa all day, or like just doing things that don't actually make me. I don't know if it doesn't make me happy, but it doesn't take off the like going for a run actually just
Mhm.
takes off the edge of the unhappiness. It doesn't
Yeah.
make it doesn't make me feel really happy after a run. It means I
Mhm.
feel less unhappy. Generally,
Okay.
that's what it does for me.
Yeah.
And throughout that sort of November, December, because I in my head I was like, nah, I'm gonna go after it in January, blah blah
Yeah.
blah blah. I
So you
kind of just went
go.
worse. I just got worse in
Yeah.
November, December because I was like, well, I'm gonna be good in January, and I'm
Yeah.
glad I have been. Like I've ran every day. I've drank no alcohol. I'm drinking 0% and really enjoying it.
Mhm.
I've got goals. My habits are way back where they should be. I'm working out more. Like I'm reading more. I'm doing the things that actually generally make me feel better. But
Mhm.
my fear is, and this is to Dean's point, all it takes with the way my brain
Mhm.
is one thing, and it all goes to shit. Like
Yeah.
it's not that I just won't run. I won't
Mhm.
run. I won't read. I
Yeah.
won't like. I'll drink more or whatever that might be.
Mhm.
Um, and it's just trying to change the way my brain thinks. And it's
Yeah.
alcohol. Like it is alcohol.
Mhm.
Because everything else, nothing else throws me off because
Yeah.
it's just going out, getting drunk, because socially it's what we do.
Mhm.
And I'm not an alcoholic by any means. I'm a binge drinker.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think
Um,
we all are in the northeast, don't we? That's just what we do. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, saying I've never drinking again. Then Friday,
Yeah.
Saturday, Sunday, and then the same. It's like I talked about there a second ago about the the New Year. It's a bit
Mhm.
similar that like when you're on a diet, your Monday is your New Year. So like you
Yeah.
fuck your diet up on a Tuesday, Wednesday, and you go right. Fuck it, I'll start on Monday. So knowing you're starting your diet on Monday, you go and hammer as much food as you can get. I'm gonna have a burger today. I'll have my pizza as well because I'm not gonna have that. And then you just do the same thing again. But I think a lot of it is about accountability. So, like, you
Mhm.
know, what we were saying. So, we can probably, and I don't want to say this, but we can probably just go for a drink like one day, but then that
Mhm.
doesn't have to transpire into every weekend. But the way we
Yeah.
are, the way our brain goes, it's all or nothing. So we're either in it or
Mhm.
we're not. And if we're not in it, we're out of it. So
Yeah.
And 0%'s helping me with that, I have to be honest.
yeah.
The-
It is with
I-
me as well. I've had a few lagers and I don't even like lager normally, but the
Yeah.
0% lagers are all right.
yeah.
The taste really similar, to be fair. I've had them before.
Yeah.
They do
It
taste
tastes
quite
better.
nice.
Like,
Aye.
it
Mhm.
must be the alcohol inside of it that I don't like the taste of, because I actually don't mind the taste of like not a 0% like lager, which is
Yeah.
really surprising.
Yeah.
I don't really drink very rarely now. And it's not for any reason other than I love getting up and going for a run in the morning. And if I have a
Mm.
drink, it wipes us out. And it kind of links
Yeah.
back to what you were saying. If I don't run for even just 1 or 2 days, I find it
Mhm.
so hard to start again.
Yeah.
And then I feel even worse.
So
It's just not worth it.
to listeners, again, running is a big thing for you, and I know
Mhm.
that just because I see that you run all of the time. How has running helped you through some of your struggles, generally?
I've only really started running it was probably during COVID.
Mhm.
And it was really just for something to do and kind of
Were you
Get out
active
the house.
before?
yeah, I would go to the gym and stuff. I've got quite a bit of a in the past had a bit of a love-hate relationship with exercise. So when I was from like age of like 12 to when I was 20, I had an eating disorder.
Mhm.
Really quite badly, to the fact that I was hospitalized for like quite a lot of those years. But exercise was something that made us really unwell or contributed to what I was going through. So I've always kind of had a love hate relationship with it, but over the past few years, I've used it to my benefit.
Mm.
And I use it to manage my feelings. If I'm having a bad day, I'll go for a run, and I'll use it to manage how I feel.
Do you run in the morning or at night normally?
Morning, yeah.
Yeah.
I like gym or run, depends really what I'm doing, but it
Do you
it's
find
just
if you
something I
don't
do
do
as
it that
part of my
you have a
routine. Say that
bad day,
again.
or do you find if you don't do it like one day, do you like have a bad day? Do you stress or?
I feel if I don't get up and do something active in the morning, I feel crap all day.
Yeah.
I couldn't, yeah, I cannot not do something. Um,
I'm
so
not
not
there
that
yet at all.
it's,
I am not.
Somehow, somehow when it's
but it
like
kind
it's
of
still
only
not
really
easier.
started. Like I said, it was in COVID, and I would get up and go for a run, and it was to build a routine while I
Yeah.
was furloughed for quite a few months.
Yeah.
And I'm the sort of person who has to have a routine or something to do to focus on during the
Yeah.
day. So that's kind of how I got into it. And then kind of just did it a bit, stopped for a bit, and then just kind of got into a routine and just kind of built up from there. And I never ever, one thing I'll always say to people is I never ever regret going for a run, even if I really can't be asked to go
It's so true.
and I'm in
Yeah, it is.
agony running it. I never ever regret it ever.
Like, even if you regret it, like as you're running, like the back end of the running, you think, "Fuck
Hmm.
me, this is hard," and I got, and then once you stop afterwards, you're like, "Oh, that wasn't too bad actually." And you
Yeah.
know, you just
Yeah,
turned
you
yourself
do
all the
though.
way, and you're like,
Aye.
you hate your life, and then unless that's just me, because I'll just switch off and I go,
Hmm.
"Actually, that was pretty good."
You were a bit
Yeah,
like that
you
yesterday,
do.
actually, weren't you?
Yeah, but the blisters, mate. I ordered them blister things that you sent us actually to come
Compede.
today.
Yeah.
Aye, but
If Compede want to sponsor the podcast, please feel free. No, that's really interesting. So, in terms of your running, are
Mhm.
you did you become obsessed with running, or is it just something that has just become a habit?
No, I wouldn't. Not no, I wouldn't say I became obsessed with it. I mean, some people probably would say I am a bit obsessed with it now because I do run. Like I probably run 4 or 5 times a week, if
Hmm.
not more sometimes.
Hmm.
But it's not something that I'm obsessed with. It's just something that I do to keep my mind healthy, basically. Just
yeah,
like people eat a healthy diet or people go do whatever to keep themselves healthy. That's just part of my daily routine to
Hmm.
keep us sane, really.
And do you
Um,
know when you're talking about alcohol before, you're saying you don't really drink now?
yeah.
Have you have you gone through the phases again? Obviously, you're a northern lad. Have you gone through the phases of you were out all the time? Alcohol was ever a problem? Like you were out too much or whatever?
No,
or was
not
that never
really.
a thing?
No, I mean, even now I do still have a good night out, and I still do have drinks, but
Mm.
I just can't justify writing off a full weekend being hungover because I know that I feel so much worse
Absolutely
afterwards.
pathetic.
Yeah, it's just not worth it for me anymore. Like, if there's like an event or something, or there's like a celebration or whatever, then yeah, I will probably have a few drinks and feel ill the
And
next
can
day.
you
But
just have a few? Can you just have
no,
a
I mean,
few and stop?
I would get hammered, and I would feel absolutely crap the next day. But I don't mind doing it once in a while. But it's
Yeah.
not worth ruining my routine that I love and makes us feel good every weekend because it's just I kind of
Do you
hang it.
still run after you've had a drink, or do you not do it?
Depends how bad my hangover is. I have done before, and to be fair, it actually sorts us out. It just sweats it out.
Do you know what it is? Our friend Chris Conway is the same. He drinks like, and he gets up as soon as he goes for a run in the morning, and then it sorts him out.
Yeah, you do feel it
Like,
does sort you
but
out.
you just
Like,
gotta actually just get up and do it. That's all.
yeah. I mean, some mornings even now, like this morning, for example, I got up for the gym and I really just could not be arsed. Had to drag myself out of bed. But once I was out the front door and I was there, I was spot on. And I feel class after, so it's like it's always worth it for us.
Sometimes you just have to get out. So this month I'm doing. So Dean was like, just commit to doing at least 1K a day.
Yeah.
And the only times I've ran 1K is days where I've been like crazy busy, or like if I'm traveling first thing in the morning,
Yeah.
and my train's at like 5:30, 6 or whatever, just to go and do a K and then to say I've done it. But generally, there's been, what are we on the 20th? I would say there's been 6 times ish outside of that where I've thought, right, I'll just go and do a K. It'll take me literally 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm back in and I'm fine. And I've ran for half an hour, or I've ran for 20 minutes. I've gone and done more.
Isn't it?
Because once you're out, exactly.
Yeah.
You're like,
It's
for all of my...
It's complete mindset. Like I say that to people like now, like it doesn't really necessarily matter how physically fit you are. It's just down to pure. It's in your head. The whole lot of it. I think like if you just force yourself to do it and just keep going, you'll like it's in how you feel in your mind.
Yeah.
Because I watched a YouTuber, it was like some girl, and she was talking that I ran every day for a year, so I watched it, and then I was thinking, all right, I bet you should run like 5K every day. And then I watched it, and I was thinking, oh, and I looked at just her minimum was she just had to do a K a day, and that was the fact that once you're out, you're out, so it's not too bad. So like that, then I said to Lou, and I said, how far do you think my minimum was? And you said, 5K a day. Well, that's what we do as well, is we always stretch way too far, thinking that we can do everything. And then as soon as you fail, you just give up. So like just trying to make it like baby steps. I mean, this morning I set my alarm. Like originally I was going to set my alarm at 5:30. I was going to get up 5:30 every day when I normally I get up at like 7:30. So I'm already trying to get up 2 hours earlier. So then I was like, well, I'm just going to get up 10 minutes earlier this week, run on my treadmill for 10 minutes, and then get ready for work. And then the week after, I'll set back. So like last night, I was writing in my diary, because obviously new me, I'm writing in the diary now. And I was like, right, I'm going to run 5K Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. But if I just do 2 in the morning, I'll do 2 at night. And then this morning, I woke up. I felt ill, so I got out of bed. I put all my clothes on. I come downstairs, looked at my treadmill. I thought, fuck, I'm just going back to bed. So I just went back to bed. So now I'm going to run one off as soon as I finish. Yeah.
And the difference is you have a treadmill in the warmth, and I've got to run the streets. And
Not
in the warmth. It's in my conservatory. It's freezing.
Don't think as well though. Like I think stuff like that, like we just put pressure on ourselves a lot of the time, and like rather than making it something not enjoyable or something like that's going to benefit you, you think, oh, I need to do this and make it a more negative thing.
100%.
And that can make
it
harder.
There's 2 sides to that with me. So there's, and I'm interested in both your thoughts on this. There's that whole rhetoric in society of be kind to yourself, right? But my fear is when I'm kind to myself, I'm a lazy shit. I actually get so much more out of myself.
David Goggins.
I'm definitely not David Goggins.
Carry the boats.
Yeah, but in terms of being a bit of a dick to myself in my head of like, so if I'm feeling genuinely low, I'm not going to be a dick and be like, I'm making it sound like I'm schizophrenic or something and I'm talking to myself all the time in my head. I'm not, but
I know what you mean.
if I'm genuinely low, I will
Mhm.
accept that and be like, okay, I need to go and do something positive to
Mhm.
take away the negative. That's fine. But also, like now, I'm a bit sore because I ran, and then I did a weight session yesterday.
Mhm.
So my legs are a bit sore, and if I'm kind to myself, I go, "No, just rest. I just don't do it. Like
Yeah.
you're
But then
fine."
doesn't it? That's
But
it. I didn't
that's
do it
it.
yesterday. I failed. So now I'm just gonna.
And
Yeah.
if I do that, if I'm kind to myself, how kind is that being? Is that being kind to the soft version of myself, or is that being, or if I'm harder on myself and say, even just go and do a K, just go and do 1K, right? And that's
Mhm.
another day ticked, and that's another day saying you're going to do something and you do it. So not letting yourself down on the promises you make yourself. And is it then creating the habits in line with the person when I close my eyes of who I want to be? What's the best way to do it?
Yeah. I think being hard on yes.
Today, Lou. Sorry,
Hmm?
mate. You go.
No,
You
no.
go.
Sorry. What? Go on.
I was just going to say, it's being kind to the Lou of today, but it's not
Mhm.
being kind to the Lou of 6 months. Because if you
Yeah.
want to make change, you've got to be. And it comes down to that thing like accountability. I have no accountability to myself whatsoever.
Yeah,
Like
I'm the
if I
same.
say I'm going to do, if I say I'm going to do something and I don't do it, then that's it. I just haven't done it. When I think
Yeah.
myself, I want to buy something, I just buy it. I don't. There's no thoughts or anything. I just do what I want. Like, and I think it just comes down to just being trying to be accountable to yourself and what
But you
your
know what?
long-term goals are.
If you say to me you're going to do something for me, you do it. And if I say I'm going to do something for you or for Joe or one of my friends, like my friends, my family, whatever, like I will do it because I've said I'm going to do it. But I
Mhm.
don't do it for myself. It's so easy
Like
to let yourself down. It's
Yeah.
the
the one
Jordan
person you
Peterson
shouldn't let
thing,
down.
Jordan Peterson has that one, doesn't he? He says, treat yourself like you are treating someone else. Like if your
Mhm.
doctor gives you antibiotics for your dog and you've got to give them at 8 a.m. and 8 p.m., you do that on the dot. If your
Mhm.
doctor gives you antibiotics, you don't even take the full thing. You just take half of them till they feel better and get rid of them. So you need to
Yeah.
like treat yourself as if you're treating someone else. But so
Yeah.
hard on myself.
Yeah, it's very
No, it is
true.
true. Now, it was just what I was going to say before was when you were mentioning that if you're feeling like down or whatever, then you won't be as harsh on yourself. Or if you're feeling like about forcing yourself to go for a run, you can be like softer. Like I think with that sort of thing, the way I look at it is being hard on yourself is actually being better to yourself because you in the long run that's going to make you feel better.
Mm.
Does
And you
that make
build up a
sense?
resilience. Like
Yeah, of course
resilience
you
is a
do.
skill. Like
Well,
strong mental strength is a
Hmm.
skill.
Yeah.
it
You-
comes down to having that why though again like you've got to have a why as to why you're doing it. If you don't
Mhm.
have a reason as to why you're doing it, then of course just go and sit on the sofa. Like
Yeah.
if you don't really like a lot of people, right, like want to lose weight, and when you ask them why is it that you want to lose weight, the answer should never be, well, because society says that I should be this weight. Like
Hmm.
nobody that has that idea is ever going to lose weight. If it's because
Yeah.
I've got a newborn baby on the way and I want to be the best dad that I can be and as fit as possible,
Be
that's
a
a
role
strong
model and
why. That's
healthy
going
and
to
live as
get.
long
That's
as
going to.
possible. And
It's a motivation. You've got to have
Yeah,
that
of
reason
course.
why to actually motivate yourself to actually do it. And if you don't,
Hmm.
you shouldn't do it for other people. You need to do it for yourself, but you need to
Yeah,
have a
100%. You have
strong
to.
why.
Yeah, you have to want to do it, don't you? Like
mhm.
deep down, you have to
100%.
want to. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I
Are
agree.
you? What are you both like with holding your? So Joe, Dean's
Hmm.
actually just answered it to himself. How are you with holding yourself to account if you say you're going to do something?
I'm quite good. 'Cause I'm quite harsh on myself. What I mentioned to you before we came on air, like I'm really competitive against myself. So I'm not really
Mm.
that bothered what other people are doing or how fast other people are running or how far, whatever. Like for me, it's beating myself at stuff. So I'm always wanting to be better at what I've done before.
Mhm.
So I find with that kind of mindset, I hold myself accountable quite well, purely for the fact that I know if I didn't do something that I told myself I was going to do, I would beat myself up about it. And I know that I would feel worse for not doing it. So in that sense, I've become quite good at it, but it is tricky. Like, it is hard sometimes, because then you
With
feel like
running, you have to do that, don't you? Because like
Mhm.
you'll be out on a run and you might be doing your like base building where you're doing, you know, your slow run, your long run, and then
Mhm.
someone else is coming back and they're doing a tempo run, they're speeding past you, and you think to
Mhm.
yourself, "I'm going too slow here," and it makes you want to speed up. You
Yeah,
I'm the
yeah.
worst
used
for
to
that.
struggle with that, Lewis, didn't you? Really bad. If someone goes too fast, you just want to keep going. But I think you've got to compare yourself to who you were yesterday and compare yourself
Yeah.
to like other people. And I think that's probably a better way of doing it, to be fair.
It was like when I did the so I've done the Great North Run twice now. Last year was my second one. First year I had no pressure on myself. It was my first one. Just thought I'm gonna enjoy the experience.
Yeah.
I'm not really bothered what time I get. Like, I had a bit of an idea, but I wasn't really that bothered by it. Last year, the pressure I put on myself, like, I knew I had to beat the first year's time, and it was just pure mental strength the whole way. Like, keep pushing,
Yeah.
keep going, because I knew that I would feel worse for not beating my personal best,
Mm.
and it was
What
just
was your
pure
time?
mental strength the whole way. It was 1:39 the first year, 1:34 last year.
Yeah,
But it was
Joe's
just
really good at
pure.
running. Dean.
It was just, and there was parts of it I was in agony. I was just thinking, if I stop, I'll feel worse to stop, and then I will the pain in my legs to keep going. And it
Are
was
you
just,
doing it again this year?
I think so. I did say I wasn't going to, because I want to try and do a full marathon,
Mm.
but I think I probably will end up doing it still.
Are you setting yourself a goal?
I want to, if I do it this year, I want to try and get under 1:30.
Yeah,
But and then I know for a fact the year after I'll want to try and get under 1:25, whatever. But
I might do it.
You might do it.
Well, the reason I haven't done it in the past is because I played Sunday football, and I would never give up playing football to run a marathon, like half marathon. As a
Yeah.
footballer, it's crazy that people do that. But now that I'm playing on a Saturday, I could do it. 100%.
Yeah. You done it
I gave up
before?
my spot last time. No. I've
Oh,
done a
honestly,
half marathon.
it's a class experience. Like, the atmosphere is amazing. You should do it, like, if you can.
Everyone says that, don't they?
Yeah. And then, like, I always say, like, for people who haven't
Work
done it
towards this
before,
year.
like, sorry, say that again.
So I'm just saying that could be something for us to work towards as well. Like,
It's a goal,
I
isn't
don't
it?
think I'll be
Yeah,
getting
100%.
139s and that, like, but fucking.
No, but I
Again,
always say,
I'm just going to compare myself to myself.
yeah, exactly. And, like, there's no pressure. Like, I always say to people, like my friends who are thinking about doing it, like, it doesn't matter. Like, if it's your first time, or even if it's your second or third, just enjoy it. Like, that's just my personal perspective on it, because I want to beat myself. But it doesn't matter how fast you do it, how fast you go, or whatever. If you're enjoying it, that's the main thing.
The problem is, though, I actually give my spot to someone last time, so that has somebody who's already raced as me. So then there is a time that I have to beat. Otherwise, it's going to look like I didn't beat it.
That's even worse.
What did they
It
do?
was like 2 hours 2 minutes. No, it was like 2 hours 1. I think like with two. It was just under 2 minutes. And I said, "Well, could you
Right.
not have pushed just for that 2 hour thing?" He said, "I literally couldn't."
Just coming to sort of the end here, and there's a couple of
Mhm.
questions for you both. First one, so linking it back to the topic of conversation, male friendships, what do you both value in friends that are like your male friends, for example?
I'll go first. I'm gonna be quite quick, because all my mates are
And-
girls, really.
And girls then. No, and
Oh,
girls.
okay.
So then there's a perspective difference, I suppose.
For me, it's just, I think what I value in a friendship is knowing you can be like your true authentic self around them. Like, I've got friends who I could just sit and chill with and sit on flick through with phones and not have to speak, and still be good company to each other. Like, there's no pressure. You can be just exactly who you want to be. So that's probably what I would value the most.
Mm.
Mine's just like I've got loads of mates that I forget that I've got, and then like you see them like after like a year, and then you're just like you were never apart. Like, I know that sounds really bad, but like if Cole sometimes watches these, and like I met him in Australia, and then I won't see him for months. I probably haven't seen him for nearly a year. But then the next time we go and see each other, it was just like you're never apart. Like, your school
Yeah.
friends get together once every 6 months and stuff, and like literally from when we're together, it feels like we've actually never been apart. Like it feels like the last time I seen them was yesterday, and I think that's a good. I
Yeah,
think as you get
100%.
on and stuff, you realise that you've all got your own life, and I'm probably quite hard on myself, thinking to myself, well, I haven't reached out to my mates
Mhm.
recently, and then I think, well, you say it most of the time, Lee. Well, you just haven't reached out to each other, really, have you? And I was like, oh yeah, true. To be fair, but
Yeah.
when you admit,
I said, but then they probably have.
yeah. Sometimes I do go in and I have a look and I have message, and I think, fuck me, I'm so bad.
Yeah. No, I get that. I think
What
for
about you,
me,
Lou?
it's possibly a mixture of the two, but it's that. So the authentic self part and the like you've never been apart.
Mhm.
A lot of that comes to me to the ability to be honest.
Yeah.
Like especially as I've got older, is a friendship with someone where they're more than happy to call me out on my bullshit. So
Yeah.
Dean does it to a degree, but Ethan, I know Joe, you met him when we went on a walk.
Uh-huh.
He's someone, for good or bad, will, if I'm being a dick, will say, "Lewis, you're being a dick,"
Yeah.
and I think I try not to be a dick generally, but I think that's something that I really value. Is you need people in your life who are willing, who aren't gonna just people please with you. Like your
Yeah.
mate should be able to tell you, right, something's up, or
Mhm.
especially when we then start linking it to mental health. So, for
Yeah.
example, we live in the Northeast. We spoke about alcohol a bit here, but then there's drug use, there's gambling, there's porn
Mhm.
addiction, there's all those sorts of things that men are doing and feel like shit generally, because the topic of this is men's tonight.
Mhm.
And how many of your friends, and this is you as a listener, would say, I think you have a problem, or I think you need to cut back, or when you look at your behavior, how much of that is actually making you happy and contribute or contributing to your negative thoughts?
Mhm.
And having people in your life that will have those conversations with you, like I need that. I now need that, having had a crisis in my life.
Mhm.
Because I'm so consciously aware when I've had a moment where I didn't want to be here anymore to then where I am today. My fear is that I could ever go back to that. Is there something in my brain now where I could
Mhm.
ever get back in that mentality? Dean always says no, but I feel like I could.
Yeah.
Out of only fear more than anything, not
Mhm.
because I think about it. And then, sorry, I kind of killed the conversation there by ending on something so fucking deep. The other one would be, if either of you had advice
Mhm.
to your younger self. So we're all in our 30s, right? I think.
Yeah, late. Well,
Yeah.
yeah. Not late, but mid.
Mid. I think Dean's mid.
I'm getting scared, me. Like
I am
I
as
was
well. I
saying to my
can't believe
lad,
I'm getting close to 40.
and I didn't want to say this. Like, sorry, Joe, I didn't know you. You look younger than me, to be fair, right? So, I was saying like, if I was to die at like 68, I would already be halfway through my life,
I
and
keep
I was
thinking
like,
that. I
that's
keep
fucking.
thinking like I'm
Do you know?
actually could be halfway through my lifespan. Like it is terrifying.
Do you know? Can you remember the year 2000, the
Yeah.
millennium?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was quarter of a century ago.
It's mental, isn't it?
25 years ago, that was. And
Crazy.
I'm like, where
I
did
And
it
know.
then back then, that was 1975, the last time.
Yeah.
That
Uh-huh.
was a quarter of a century ago, and you're
That
like,
feels like much like 1975 was ages ago from
No, I
compared to
know.
like millennium, but like
It's terrifying.
we're in a
I don't feel
simulation, I
like I'm
think.
in like because I'm 30. I'm 36. This like 36 this year. I don't feel like. I mean, I know 36 isn't old at all, but I
no.
don't. I feel like I'm in like mid-20s still. I don't feel.
Yeah, but it is funny. Like when you
But
were
it
a
is.
kid and you used to look at these 20-something-year-olds and think
Uh-huh.
that they're like adults and they've got their whole life together, and then now like
And then here
I'm
we are. Figure
34 and I'm
out.
fucking got.
Them 50-year-olds have got their life together.
Yeah.
That's what
Uh-huh.
we're
I'm
thinking.
wondering if they do. Maybe they're just like us.
Uh-huh. I know.
Yeah, I think.
It is weird.
So yeah, if you were to look at your 20-year-old version of yourself, what
Mhm.
advice would you give the 20-year-old version of you as a friend?
I wouldn't
Um,
really think anything, me. Like, even though I know that I know, right? But like, I know, right? And I know because you know some of the stories and stuff. But like, I'm where I'm now, and I'm fairly happy. The only thing I'd maybe say is go to Sean's job earlier, the job I've got now, because I've been earning a lot more money. But
Keep playing
other,
football.
yeah, maybe, yeah, that's probably a good one. Yeah, I gave up playing football to go drinking, maybe. But again, like I had some of the best weekends of my life. Then
yeah.
I went traveling with my wife. So like, you know, if I had have given advice and gone a different way, like who's to say I'd be any better off? You know, and I'm
Mhm.
fairly happy with my life that I've got now. Well, actually, I am happy with my life.
Yeah, Joe.
For me, it's hard because I live by not living in regrets. So
Yeah, that's
I will
fine.
say that first. For me, it would probably be it's okay to be who you are. Because I've really struggled with that for a lot of years in my life,
Yeah.
accepting me as a person who I am, and always more worried about what other people would think or how other people would perceive me. So it would be don't really give a shit about what other people think, and be happy with who you are as a person. So that'll probably be
I
mine.
think I think that's probably mine. You know,
Yeah.
I think for a lot of my life, I've tried to impress people more than just do what I want to do, or
Yeah.
like I've
I
done.
found it's got easier as I've got older. I don't care half as
Stop
much as
caring.
what I did
Yeah, you
10
just don't
years
go.
ago.
Don't
Give a
give a
fuck,
shit.
do you?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
And when you go through shit in life, it makes you not care as much and not take
Yeah,
life
even less. You
as
just keep caring
seriously.
less, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just think, well, you only literally get one life. You could be dead tomorrow. You don't know. So you have to just think, fuck
Yeah.
it sometimes.
That's why there's like 70-year-olds like shouting at kids for skateboarding down the street and that because they just don't care.
That'll
Like,
be us.
I think I'll never be like that, but I can see myself a few years time, like fucking shouting at customer service reps and stuff. Put my
Mhm.
Do you
Karen in it.
what's funny, right? Dean took a course to be a referee in football. So for Dean to say that he wouldn't shout at kids on a skateboard, he was going to be the guy to tell people off on a football pitch. Like, if there's anything worse than that,
That was just ADHD though. Like I'm a referee, I'm a qualified ref, but I've never refed a game.
and you never will.
I've got a taxi driver. I don't even. I'm not going to taxi drive a car. I've got a pool table, a dartboard, a gym. I just got all the gear. The idea.
Yeah, literally, Dean is the definition of all the gear, no idea. I have to be honest. Like, so,
That's
Joe, there's a
hilarious.
story here. So, I don't know if you can see just to Dean's left. That's a pool table in his
Oh,
living
okay.
room, right? In his living
Oh,
room, and
right.
he's married.
That's
been
class.
that's wife's head.
So he convinced his wife. She's from Japan. He
Right.
convinced her that all British men have a pool table in their living room,
That's absolutely hilarious.
and
There
she,
you are. You've got one. You
and
are,
she
sorry?
believes it.
There's not even
Oh,
room to play. Like the room's not big enough.
that's
Like I have
absolutely
to throw the
class.
sofa out. No, but like it wasn't that. It was because I was spending so much money playing pool outside the house. Obviously,
So
a
Right,
pound a
okay.
he
game.
spent
I've played
£1,000.
more than 1,000 games on that. So like
It was cheaper
really,
just
I've
to buy
saved
one.
money. Yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
exactly. There you go. Logic.
Now I have to buy a house that's probably 50 grand more expensive because I can't buy a house with a room that doesn't have a pool table big
How are
enough.
you
Pool
going to get
table.
that out? How did you even get it in? Like, that does not look like it fits through a
Apart, mate.
door. Does it come apart?
There's a slate bed on it, and then the 4 legs come off. But it'll be a nightmare. The slate bed on it's like 200 kilos, really, really heavy.
So you got someone specialist to move that?
Now they bring part of buying it. They bring it down.
No, but are they going to move it?
They recommend that you get a specialist to move it, but I would probably do it myself and then break it and buy a new one.
Yeah, that's what would happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not allowed to spend that money. But yeah, I would say, so to all listeners here, thank you very much for tuning in. You've met Joe a little bit today. We are going to continue having more in-depth conversations. Over the next few weeks, we have some pretty cool guests on. So starting with, I should know this off the top of my head, but Matthew Jarvis, yeah, ex-England international, West Ham Premier League footballer. Then we have Sophie Ellen, who we've had previously on the podcast. So Sophie is someone who is relatively famous on TikTok, and she's going to come and talk about all around dating and relationships again. She was a class guest, and really looking forward to catching up with Sophie. Then we have, it's Anthony Hutton before Sophie, actually. So Anthony Hutton, one big brother. He runs a suicide prevention charity called Never Throw in the Towel Project, all around stopping men from committing suicide. So that will be definitely an interesting guest to have. Then we have a lady who runs a training businesses on mental health awareness. So if your employer would be wanting to support and sort of upskill your staff around mental health in the workplace, that'll be a conversation that we'll have. And then we are ending February with Luke Ambler, who is the founder of Andy Man's Club. So he will come in and talk about his story from being a professional rugby player to then setting up the charity and supporting and supporting men with their mental health. So Dean has just put in the chat around Bonnie Blue coming on the podcast. We are going to debate women, well, not women generally, but the OnlyFans culture in society and the impact that we think that is having. So we will have that conversation probably in February. We've got a potential guest lined up, which we all have really strong opinions on that we've seen today. But yeah, that is coming soon too. Any closing thoughts, boys?
No, I don't think so. No.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you very much, everyone, for tuning in and listening. And we will catch you on the next one. Thank you and good night.